Today I'd like to provide a recap of the 2022 real estate market, where things started out, kind of where they went as the year progressed, and where we've ended up as of right now. And then also just a few words about where we think this market is headed in 2023. This year was a year where the pendulum finally started to swing in the other direction. For a long time, it seemed, the pendulum was all the way over here with homes flying off the shelf, multiple offers coming in $100,000 over list price, and the longer we stayed here, the more unhealthy our market became. This was also happening in the overall economy. And once we entered into COVID, the Fed really wanted to focus on keeping the economy steady and strong and not go off a cliff as everybody was locked in their homes. And as we came out of COVID, people started spending money because they had been cooped up for so long. They started spending and buying, and the Fed decided they needed to rein that in because it led to extreme inflation. And you saw it at the gas pump and at the grocery store. And so as the Fed started to raise interest rates to rein in inflation, it had a dramatic impact on the real estate market. Interest rates climbed from around 3%, where they were hovering at the beginning of the year, to as high as 7.5% this past summer, which really had an impact on the real estate market, especially on buyers who were growing accustomed to a 3% interest rate, now having to deal with 7.5%. That high interest rate led to a severe drop-off in mortgage applications as people started realizing they couldn't afford to buy a home at the homes they were looking at the current interest rates. For example, if somebody was looking to keep their monthly mortgage payment around $2,700, in the spring that meant they could buy for around $500,000. But with interest rates jumping up to 7.5%, that buying power went down to $300,000 to keep that mortgage payment the same. And that really eliminated a lot of options for buyers. So that caused the buyer pool to kind of cool down a little bit. And as that happened, homes started to sit on the market for longer. Instead of taking 4 days to sell, homes were now taking closer to a month to sell. Instead of having 1,500 homes on the market, as those homes started sitting, we saw numbers climb up to 6,000 to 7,000 homes sitting on the market. Now that seems drastic as you look at the spring activity versus summer activity, where you've got 1,500 homes in active inventory, 6,000, 7,000 homes in active inventory. But if you think back to prior to COVID, those numbers are actually pretty normal. We were seeing, before COVID, homes take about a month to sell. We were seeing 6,000 to 7,000 homes in our active inventory. And then when COVID hit, the market got very constricted. So the good news is we're actually heading back to normal. Our market is normalizing, and that's really important for us to do if we're going to remain a healthy real estate market. If we stay over here, the market is eventually going to crash. If we can get back to normal, we'll stay healthy and come out of this just fine. And we're already starting to see that in interest rates. Interest rates have already come back down about a full point from where they were at the peak. And that's really helpful for buyers. Now we're also seeing lenders start to roll out more and more products that help buyers adjust to this new norm. But overall, the market is swinging back towards health, and that's what we want. Now, here are a few reasons that we're optimistic as we look at 2023. First of all, it seems like most people have kind of adjusted to this new normal in the market. Sellers are getting more realistic with their pricing and their expectations around inspections and that sort of thing. Lenders are rolling out more and more products to help buyers adjust to this new high rate environment and help them ease into it. Secondly, the second reason that we're optimistic is that the largest demographic in the country right now is in their early 30s. And the average age of a first-time homebuyer is 34. So as this demographic enters into that first-time homebuyer phase, that should lead to really strong demand, continued, sustained, strong demand in our real estate market, which will help us stay balanced and is a good thing. And then the third reason we're optimistic is that it seems like rates have hit their peak. Most experts are saying rates at that 7.5 was probably the peak. And as we go through 2023, we could see that settle down a bit. And that will really help buyers re-engage in this market and be able to afford it. Now, some questions that we have as we enter into this new year. One, what is the Fed going to do? Are we going to see inflation come down, which will encourage the Fed to slow these dramatic rate increases, which would be great? What is the rental market going to do? We know that Denver has recently instituted a requirement for inspections and for homeowners who are renting out properties to be licensed. What is that going to do to the rental market and even to the real estate market overall? And then third, will the spring of 2023 bring with it the increased buyer demand that we typically see in the spring? We've historically been a very seasonal market. Our market cools down in the fall and winter and then picks back up in the spring most of the time. What's going to happen next spring? We expect things to ramp back up here in March and April, but it remains to be seen, and it kind of hinges on what the Fed does. So all of these questions remain to be answered, but overall, we have an optimistic outlook for the real estate market here in Denver in 2023. If you have any questions about any of this or anything related to buying or selling real estate, we would love to talk to you. Feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks for watching this video.